Crimson Garuda isn't bad, it's just ignored. It's buried under the power creep, overshadowed by the meta. However, we wanted to make a statement, so we ran over 240 battles with 4 different builds against 3 of the biggest threats in Beyblade X. Shark Scale 170 Low Rush, Hover Wyvern 960 Kick, and Wizard Rod 160 Hexa. What we found will change how you look at this bay. And if you want to pick up Crimson Garuda for yourself, check out the sponsor of the channel, Mall of Toys. Not only are you able to pick yourself up a Crimson Garuda, but you can also pre-order the next wave of Beyblade X's releases straight from their store. While you are there, let them know that BurstLabsX sent you. Use code BurstLabsX for 5% off your entire order. The link is in the description down below. Now, let's see what this blade is really capable of. Here's a quick disclaimer. These are solo test results in a controlled environment. Your results may vary in tournament play, but these numbers give real insight on how each combo performs and why. For our first build, we started a little reckless. We started with Crimson Garuda 760 low flat. Now, when you're looking at this, it screams pure aggression. Low flat should push tempo, and the 760 bit should be able to keep it stable with moderate defense. It looked like a brawler, but the numbers didn't lie. Over 60 battles, its win-loss record was 12 wins and 48 losses. It had earned an average of 0.36 points per battle. That's not variance, that's structural failure. Against Shark Scale 170 Low Rush, it won 3 out of 17. Against Wizard Rod 160 Hexa, it only won once. And even against Hover Wyvern, the most fair matchup, it still went 8 and 12, still losing. So what was happening? Let's take a look at how it scored. Its spin finishes were 6 wins and 32 losses. That's a negative 26 point swing just from stamina exchanges. Over finishes? 2 wins and 11 losses. Another negative 18 net impact. The only place it broke even was extreme finishes, where it went 4 wins and 4 losses. That tells us everything that we need to know. Garuda wasn't overpowering opponents, it wasn't outlasting them, and it definitely wasn't breaking them. It was trading hits and losing the long game. Garuda doesn't want chaos, and against this current meta, chaos loses. So we tightened up a little bit. Crimson Garuda 160 Rubber XL. The same blade, but with a very different identity. Rubber XL brings more grip, it brings more recoil control, and less wild rail riding. And it also brings more intentional contact. And the numbers changed immediately. Over 60 battles, its win-loss record was 24 wins and 36 losses. The average points per battle jumped from 0.36 to 0.61. It's not that small, that's definitely a huge improvement. Against Hover Wyvern, it went 11 and 9. Overall, it was a positive matchup, earning 0.85 points per battle. And against Shark Scale, we were still losing, but it went 8 and 12. It was no longer being absolutely demolished. And against Wizard Rod, well, that's a different story. It went 5 and 15. We still have a problem, but it's definitely not a crash out. So what changed? Well, let's take a look at the scoring profile. Its spin finish wins were 13 wins and 26 losses. Still negative stamina trades. But over finishes, 9 wins and 6 losses. This was a positive net impact. That's the shift. Garuda stopped flailing, it started forcing over finishes, however, it was still inconsistent. But the blade finally had a weapon. It wasn't overpowering the meta, but it definitely was competing. This build of Garuda wasn't weak, it was just a little misbuilt. Rubber XL created some direction and gave it a chance. So we asked a better question. What if Garuda doesn't want speed? What if it wants balance? This is where we came up with Crimson Garuda 360 Unite, and everything changed. Over 60 battles, it went 33 wins and 27 losses. That is a 55% win rate. Points per battle climbed again, from 0.61 to 0.86. That's not incremental progress, that is competitive territory. Against Shark Scale 170 Low Rush, it went 15-5. And against Hover Wyvern 960 Kick, it went 12-8. Wizard Rod was still difficult at 6-14, but even there, it was no longer collapsing. Now let's take a look at how it scored. Its total spin finishes were 21 wins and 12 losses, with a positive net impact. The extreme finishes were 7 wins and 4 losses, another positive swing. For the first time, Garuda was winning stamina exchanges and converting big hits. The only weakness? Over finishes. 3 wins and 10 losses. That tells us something important. Unite stabilized the blade. It let Garuda control the tempo of the match instead of chasing it. This build did not rely on reckless aggression. It relied on positioning, contact timing, and sustained attacks. And when Garuda controls the center, it typically wins. This is where the narrative shifts. Garuda was never meant to sprint around the stadium. It was built to hold the ground, and once we gave it that identity, it stopped looking underrated. It started to look dangerous. There was still one problem. Wizard Rod. Even with Unite, it was the wall. And I could not let Wizard Rod walk away untouched. So we changed the objective. If we could not outspin it, we would launch it. The idea was to bring Garuda as low to the ground as possible and force upward contact. So we built Crimson Garuda on 450 Low Rush. The lower height tightened the engagement point, and Low Rush gave us the controlled forward aggression without completely losing stability. The key was the launch. Instead of going flat, I angled the launch to let Garuda absorb impact and then redirect it upwards. That upward deflection is where Wizard Rod starts to break down. We ran 60 battles into Wizard Rod, and we came out with 31 wins and 29 losses. That is a full 1.0 points per battle. For the first time in this entire test series, the matchup flipped. Now, look at how it scored. Spin finishes were still negative at 14 wins to 27 losses, which tells us we were never trying to win the stamina game. That was not the objective. Over finishes were positive at 5 wins to 1 loss, showing that ring control had improved. But the real shift came from extreme finishes. 12 wins and 1 loss. It is a plus 33 net impact swing from extreme finishes alone. Now that is targeted execution. Garuda stopped trying to survive Wizard Rod. It started forcing it into the extreme zone with upward attacks and low profile contact. The build was not chaotic and it was not defensive, it was deliberate. And nothing is more satisfying than watching Wizard Rod get launched into the abyss over and over again. So please, enjoy the montage. Crimson Garuda was never meant to be a stamina king, and it was never meant to be a reckless attacker. What this testing showed is that it is a counterbalance blade. When you build it correctly, it controls engagement, redirects attacks, and converts upward contact into scoring opportunities. With the right setup, it dominates Shark Scale, it holds advantage over Hover Wyvern, and when optimized specifically for the matchup, it can even flip Wizard Rod upside down. That doesn't make Garuda overpowered, it just makes it misunderstood. The meta did not bury this blade, we just had not built it properly. And if Wizard Rod is still considered the standard, the next step up is simple. We build specifically to break it. Our channel memberships are now live with 2 tiers. Test subjects get loyalty badges and access to a members-only Discord server where the discussions happen in real time. If you want more influence, lab directors unlock the full experience. That includes private chat rooms, early access to videos, members-only polls that help decide future matchups, and member shoutouts during new videos. So if you want to influence what gets tested instead of just watching the results, hit the join button and step inside of the lab. Make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell so you don't miss the next BurstLabsX episode. We drop a brand new video every Thursday at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. And if you've got an idea for what we should test next, leave a comment down below, or drop an emoji for the sake of engagement. I want to thank you for watching BurstLabsX, and we'll catch you on the next one.